Hello, water skiers of the internet. How's it going? I hear US Nationals is coming up, so I figured it was a good time to crack on and get into some more free coaching. So if you would like me to give you some coaching, submit a link in the comments to this video on YouTube, Dropbox, OneDrive, whatever you like. Give me your name and where you're from, and we'll put you up on the internet and criticize your water skiing for all to see. Sounds good, hey? So the first victim here is from our last set of submittals, quite a while ago, to be honest. It is Christine Bradstreet. I believe she's from Florida. She hasn't said she's from Florida, but it certainly looks like Florida in this video. So I might play the video and then we will have a chat about Christine's water skiing. Alrighty, Christine, so that is quite nice water skiing, to be honest. You could make the argument for having you just continue on with what you're currently doing and over time you will progress. But I believe if we're going to take a large step forward with your skiing quickly, I really do need you to cut quite a bit longer. You're cutting very hard into the first wake, which is great. And I know a lot of people do typically tell skiers of this level to stop cutting too long. I'm not really a believer in that. I believe for your skiing right now, the best thing you can do is get through that second wake on edge and continue cutting out towards sort of the opposite bank quite a bit longer. At the moment, you really are stopping your cut almost before that second wake. And as a result, yeah, you're not continuing to accelerate, which is the whole reason for stopping your cut. You want to start slowing down, but you've stopped your cut so early that you don't quite have enough width to begin your turn prior to getting to the buoy. And I know it feels like you might be slowing down because you've stopped accelerating, but you really are not losing much speed in that huge glide that you have where you stopped cutting at the second wake and you're just coasting into the buoy. And I understand that if you do what I'm asking you to do and cut longer, so possibly sort of get out clean of the whitewater past that second wake before you stop cutting, at that point you will be going quite a lot faster. And I do understand that that's generally quite a bit more difficult to manage, but you'll also have a lot more width. And what I want you to do after you've successfully sort of cut down through that second wake, giving yourself quite a lot more speed, I want you to begin your turn. And what's going to happen is you're going to have given yourself a lot more speed, but you will also have given yourself a lot more width before the buoy. And opposed to sort of coasting in on a flat ski and not being able to turn before getting to the buoy because you don't have the width to do so, you will actually have the width to begin a turn prior to getting to the ball. And it'll be tricky to begin your turn where I'm asking you to do it before getting to the ball because you'll be going quite fast. But if you can manage to begin that turn prior to getting to the ball, you will drastically decrease speed. And it's a tricky sort of thing to get your head around, but I know if we can just get you going wider by having you cut longer off that second wake, and then immediately transition into a turn prior to getting to that buoy, you're actually going to be getting to that buoy at almost the same speed that you currently are with your sort of setup where you don't cut past that second wake at all. But not only will you be at sort of that same manageable speed, you will have actually completed a huge amount of your rotation. You'll have some water up before getting to the ball, and at the moment that you pass that buoy, the ski will sort of be ready to come back around. So, I mean, that's just me trying to justify having you go out and really commit to going harder and longer. At the very least, cut through that second wake and then commit to a big, aggressive, fast edge change and begin that turn as early as you can. And trust me, that will bleed your speed. You'll rotate past the ball having completed a bit of your turn. And yeah, it really will be a very successful way to have you gain quite a drastic improvement in a very short amount of time if you can sort of commit to the process and just give it a few goes. It really will be quite a drastic change, but if you can commit to it, it'll be a lot better. Good luck, Christine. Alrighty, up next we have Anthony Fumanocci from Brazil. What a name, hey? Let's have a gaze at Anthony's skiing and see if we can fix something up, hey? Alrighty, Anthony, I've got something for you, mate. We might be able to find a few buoys here if we can implement this change. The only caveat to that is that it's not an overly easy thing to implement. It will have a drastic impact and you do appear to be athletic. So anyway, we'll give it a crack, right? I would imagine once we put you onto 12 meters, 35 off and beyond, things go pretty wrong at 246, which is your onside. What I'm seeing here is you're managing that fast turn that you've got at 246 by progressively sort of leaning your mass away from the boat. And that speeds up your rotation, gets the ski under the line. The only issue with that is that you're sort of relying on catching that handle to then pull you forward and send you off across the wakes. That works excellent until the rope's short. You're doing well to make it work the way you are at 32 off. Once you go to 35 off, you're going to be getting that ski under the line on that 2-4 side, trying to fall back against the line to get that handle have it pull you forward like you're sort of used to shoot across the wakes. But because you've had to go so high on the boat at 35 off, that moment at the back of the ball when you're leaning back and trying to get line tension to pull you forward, it's just going to take too long and you'll end up, as you possibly know, falling out the back of the ski at 35 off, waiting for the line to pull you forward. So we need a way for you to turn that ski at 2-4 without being reliant on having the handle at the back of the ball to pull you forward, and then that will allow us to have you shorten the rope, finish your turn, delay long enough for the boat to advance down the lake, which can then bring you in a little bit towards the wakes, and then the rope will come tight on its own if you can manage to delay that back of the ball process long enough and not fall out the back of the ski. Because yeah, at the moment, the only thing stopping you falling out the back of the ski is the fact that the rope comes tight. And when that rope comes tight later at a shorter line, it's not going to work. So to do this, I'm firstly going to allow you to turn slower. So you've got very fast turns. Awesome to see. I hate to tell someone to slow down their turns, but I mean, to be running 35 off, right? It's great to have fast turns, but your turns at 35 off will not need to be this fast. It's great that they're this fast, but in order to have you implement what I'm about to tell you, I want you to just back off the speed of that rotation. Your turns do not have to be this fast to run 35 off. Now, as for what I want you to do, other than slowing down your turns, on the way into 2-4, right? Your very first move, I believe, with regards to beginning that rotation at the moment, is for your mass to sort of begin moving away from your feet. Okay, I feel like you're sort of basically just gently rocking to the tail of the ski. I know that axis changes based on where you are in the rotation, but when I'm saying leaning back for you, it's towards the tail of the ski. And yeah, I believe that the beginning of your rotation commences with you leaning your mass back towards the fin block. Okay, and the stage at which that's happening is after you've got your peak lean about 3 or 4 meters before the buoy. I see you start to sort of lean back towards the back of the ski, towards the fin block. So what I want you to do now, just do a normal 1 ball, swing into 2 ball, okay? And that very first movement that you make, which happens sort of 3 meters before the buoy, which is at the moment to move back towards the tail, I want you to do the opposite. I want to see you move forward before anything else happens. And then if you can move forward, right, and slow down that rotation, I believe those two things will delay what's happening at the back of the ball long enough for you to rotate under and not fall out the back. Now, when I say move forward, the exact movement I'm talking about, 3 meters before the buoy on 246 side, is for you to just bring your inside shoulder towards where the handle is. Okay, the handle is in line with where the boat is. The move I need you to do is called closing the gap. At the moment, you're making that gap between the handle and yourself larger, which then puts the pressure on at the back of the ball. You've got to catch it early. If you can come in 3 meters before the buoy and do what we call closing the gap by bringing that inside shoulder, the one that's holding on to the handle, and just immediately, as you're trying to begin your turn, closing that gap a little bit by bringing that shoulder closer to the handle and allowing your mass to move forward. It'll just create a tiny little bend in that arm prior to getting to the ball, but you're not to pull it in, you're to move your shoulder towards the handle. You close that gap by moving forward, and you'll get a nice rotation through the back of the ball, and you'll be pushing on your feet through that process and not falling out the back at all. It's a very small move. It'll be a bit tricky to implement at that stage because at the moment you're doing the opposite. But once you feel that, honestly, the back of the ball, you'll have all the time in the world at that moment. And there is no hustle at the back of the ball on a short line. Your job is to stay at the back of the ball with weight on your feet and the handle in your hands long enough for the boat to hit you. Because do not worry, at 35 off and beyond, the boat is going to pick up the line and throw you to the other side. Your job is to still be there when that happens. And at the moment, I believe you'd be falling out the back of the ski and you wouldn't quite be there at that critical zone. So hopefully all that makes sense. Close the gap 3 meters before the buoy. And I do believe you'll be running 35 off. I'm not sure what your PB would be at the moment, but yeah, there'd be quite a lot of potential here if you could sort of change what you're doing into 2-4. So good luck, Anthony. Hope it helps, mate.